JDev is back at it here to give everyone another Walking Dead Season 5 episode review video. But before I get into that, it is extremely important, if you're not caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching The Walking Dead, for you to pay attention to that episode title. I'll even put that title in the description for you. If you find out that's the case and you're not caught up, I recommend, along with a bunch of other people, that you don't watch this video any further, simply to avoid any potential spoilers. This will be The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode number 5. The title of this episode is called Self-Help. This will be my review, reaction, recap of the episode. And keep in mind, it's an episode I've seen many times, and I'm reviewing it due to the fact that I want it reviewed on the channel, and due to the fact that they announced that Season 11 of The Walking Dead will be the final season of the main Walking Dead show. So we start off with a flashback. It's Abraham, I'm guessing right after the zombie apocalypse started, as he kills a group of people in a grocery store. He calls out for Ellen, his wife, and he finds her hiding with their two children, Becca and AJ. Abraham tells them that they are safe, but the three are clearly terrified of him. Interesting. The next morning, Abraham wakes up to find Ellen and the children gone, with a note saying, "Don't try to find us." Abraham goes outside and finds them dead, all devoured by walkers. And we'll get back to what happens in the flashback scene later. In the present time, Abraham, Rosita, Tara, Maggie, and Glenn, along with Eugene, are on their way to Washington, D.C. in the church bus. After passing a small group of walkers, a mechanical breakdown causes Abraham to lose control of the speeding bus and crash into wrecks on the road, turning the vehicle over. Alerted by the noise, the walkers move in on the vehicle. Now, Abraham, lightly concussed, Glenn organizes the group to fight their way out of the wreck, killing the walkers. A terrified Eugene watches and saves Tara's life as she's about to be bitten. The bus catches on fire before the group can recover their supplies. Eugene suggests going back to the church, but an agitated Abraham demands that they must continue to Washington, and Glenn backs him up after making sure Abraham is okay. Now that night, the group make a fortified camp in a bookshop, and Rosita stitches up a wounded Abraham. The wound was suffered in the crash. Something to do with his hand always gets cut up. Anyway, Abraham thanks Glenn for sticking with him after the crash and says he feels the apocalypse has reached a point where everyone still alive is very strong. Now later, Eugene, being the creepy guy that he is, spies on Rosita and Abraham having sex. After Tara catches him and tells him to mind his own business, Eugene confides in her that he sabotaged the bus by putting crushed glass into the fuel line. He has no explanation other than he wanted to stay at the church, though he does admit his fear of being abandoned once they reach Washington. A shocked Tara promises to keep his secret, but makes him swear never to put the group in danger again. And the next morning, Rosita Maggie suggests staying at the bookshop for one more day to rest and gather more supplies, but Abraham is again persistent about getting to Washington. The group comes upon a fire truck, which initially starts but quickly stops again. As Abraham checks on the reason for the fire truck stopping, the group inadvertently releases a large group of walkers from the fire station. Now, they are almost overwhelmed, but Eugene is able to turn on the high-pressure hose atop the fire truck, which tears through the walkers' rotting bodies, leaving Abraham impressed. Look at that. And then later, the fire truck breaks down in the middle of the road, or middle of nowhere. Glenn notices the wind has picked up, carrying a foul odor with it, and looks over a rise to see a ranch overrun by an enormous herd of walkers. Everyone starts to turn around and head back, but Abraham once again insists they move forward to Washington. He's obsessed with going to Washington. Rosita begs Abraham to come to his senses, but he grabs Eugene and heads toward the ranch. Glenn tries to stop the two, but Eugene suddenly yells out and confesses he has been lying all along. He is not a scientist, he's a school teacher, and does not know how to save the world. As the group looks on in total shock, Eugene says he is only smarter than others and a very good liar, but he is also a coward and felt that getting to Washington was the best chance he had at survival. Rosita is, of course, deeply hurt, lamenting that people died for him. And then Abraham, as Eugene's talking, just hauls off and clocks him, and Eugene falls face first on the ground, and then he's unconscious and a bloody mess, and then Abraham walks away, falling to his knees, and starts to cry, and then we go back to the flashback as Abraham pulls out a pistol, preparing to kill himself because his family is dead, but he hears screaming, or he hears a screaming man being chased by 3 walkers. The man is revealed to be Eugene, and Abraham saves him. As Abraham walks away to kill himself as intended, Eugene quickly sizes him up, tells him he is on a very important mission to Washington, and requests his help, giving Abraham a new reason to live. So I find this episode a little humorous, and I just love the Abraham character. Some people would say this is a solid, 8-ish. I like this episode a little bit more. I think it's almost close to a 9. The big thing, I mean, the TV series didn't really let the Washington thing go a lot. Like, they ended that really quick, and the comic book was a lot different. It was a big thing until Eugene said he was lying. I love when Abraham decked Eugene, though. It kind of reminded me of like a Looney Tunes cartoon, like Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, for some reason, when he fell face first into the ground. But I like Abraham. His character is awesome. This episode really focused on his good spots. And Eugene is good too. Rosita's great. Glenn and Maggie, and of course Tara. So as far as the score of the episode, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. The character of the episode, you guessed it, Abraham. And I just really like the episode. Certain parts of it. I mean, we just got a Beth episode, and that was really boring. Better than I expected, though. So you've heard what I have to say about the episode. Now it's your turn. So if you're a fan of The Walking Dead and you like this episode, Self-Help from Season 5, go ahead and smash that like button. If you know anybody that you think would be interested in listening or watching these videos, share the video to them. Let them know they can share it to anybody else that they want to do. Leave me a comment in the comments section. Now, you can talk about your character of the episode. You can talk about your score of the episode, favorite and least favorite episodes of The Walking Dead, or favorite characters and least favorite characters of The Walking Dead. Anything you want to put, just make sure you put it in the comment section. I'll respond to any and all comments because I don't really get that many. And of course, last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.